I'm Mike Stroud here at The Grind in Morganton, North Carolina. I want to say a big shout out to Henry once again for letting us do the podcast here. And I'm here with Arwen March. Arwen, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm from this area. I grew up kind of between Avery County and Burke County. I have a master's in business administration from UNC Wilmington, and my undergrad was done at Western Carolina University in business and law. And I am kind of a freelance small business development person. I work a lot for Stroud's Building Supply, as you know.
Awesome.
Do a lot of work there, do a lot of work helping small business owners develop and start their businesses,
Yes.
Business plan development, do a lot of graphic design work and website builds and things of that nature. It's lots of fun. Also some bookkeeping and accounting and just whatever is necessary.
One of the things I love about Arwen is, she's superwoman to me. Like she said, Arwen does so many things for so many people that so many people don't know about. And, she's recently, just with me, we had a grandbaby, and Arwen delivered the grandbaby. So, I mean, when somebody can do that, that's amazing. And so big kudos to Arwen and all her accomplishments and how she's redefined herself. And, I'm excited that she's working with me and so many people here in our county. I mean, Arwen is the go-to person in my mind. She knows my backstory. I know her backstory, and she can do it all. And that's kind of people you want in your life and in your business and network. And so Arwen is the top girl in my mind. Outside my wife, she's a powerful person here in the community, I believe. Excited about the subject we're talking about today. It's something that's on everybody's mind in the county, and we're trying to build our city and county and all those things, and we like the vibe of the people and everybody feeling good about our community and what's going on here, and the rebirth and rebuilding and re-innovating of everything. And Arlen, let's talk about some of our past and how we build on our future, and with the things we're dealing with the memorial and those things that they're talking at the county.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've been to several county commissioners meetings here lately, and it seems like a lot of people are pretty concerned about the Confederate monument that's standing on the grounds of the old courthouse, the historic Burke County Courthouse. And there's, I'm sure, tons of opinions around the county.
Yes.
It should stay there. Maybe it should be moved. Maybe it should just be taken down and destroyed. I can say that there are two of my ancestors who were listed on that monument. They didn't want to fight in the Civil War, I'm sure, but the Home Guard would go into the mountains, the mountainous areas.
Now, what is the Home Guard?
The Home Guard was a section of the Confederate Army that stayed in the South and didn't go to battle necessarily against the Union.
Kind of like in Cold Mountain?
Kind of,
in that movie? Kind of like
similar.
a depiction, kind of that thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah,
so,
I mean, that's exactly what they were talking about in that movie.
Okay.
And in the book.
Okay.
So, they would go and recruit folks who weren't fighting that they thought were the appropriate age to do that. But there were a lot of atrocities committed by the Home Guard as well, which, is covered in the movie Cold Mountain and in the book, where they would prey on vulnerable women who didn't have men at home because they were off fighting and things like that. And so it's very likely, because my ancestors lived in a mountainous area, they were not and would never have had the wherewithal to be slave owners. They didn't really have anything, at stake there. But the Home Guard, just poor folks, just living in a cabin, planting a garden, exactly, hunting, all that good stuff. And they very likely wouldn't have wanted to go to that war because they didn't have any stake in it. But the Home Guard most likely made them.
Right.
And that was the case for so many folks in the mountains.
Right.
It wasn't something that they wanted to do or felt strongly about in any way. They just were recruited. And this is a mountainous region.
Right.
You know, and so those stories are going to be prevalent if the true history is
Right.
looked at.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that I've found from everybody I've talked to here. You know, let's talk about it. And there's so many great history on both sides, but it's an ugly thing to me in so many ways of, you know, the way we treat each other, the way mankind is, and all those kind of things. But that being said, you know, people have real passions about memorials and the past and those kind of things. My passion's been more so of, you know, united kind of thing. But it's hard to unite people when they got feels on both sides. I've talked to a lot of my white friends, you know, me being white too, you know, that, you know, it's like, you know, walk around it, you know, ignore it. Those kind of things are, you know, and a lot of young people, they don't even, you know, it's not an issue to them per se, but it goes back a long way for me in business and stuff like that of something I don't really want to celebrate. I want to celebrate unity and goodness. But that being said, too, I've got a lot of black friends I've talked to, and their sentiment is they really don't like it. And so, and these are good, prominent people on both sides, and I think in our community, that's the one thing we want to build more than anything is a place that's beautiful for everybody, and not a black eye of something that's, you know, reminds us of something ugly in our past that we can't rebuild now.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think that there's any one person who can make a decision about what to do.
Right.
That's the thing that I think folks are crying out for is a group of people or a person to lead a unified discussion
Sure.
on what needs to be done, have people from every side and talk about it.
Right.
You know, it's not that, you know, we need to get a mob together and go down there and tear it down.
Yeah, we don't want nothing like that. That's the good people are, you know, talking about that is I've talked with the different leaders and people on both sides, black and white. The consensus is, let's talk about it, you know, in our community. Let's, you know, and I've heard some good reports so far of leaders, black and white, coming together, of organizations, and you know, and I believe that's the consensus of most people. But for me, as business and stuff like that, and building our town, you know, it's got to be welcoming for everybody, and everybody's got to have a part. And we do have a history, but we can build from that history in a good way.
Mm-hmm. And there might be a more appropriate location, you know, for that monument. It could be that a cemetery is more suited for
Sure.
a monument of that type.
Sure.
You know, we have the Forest Hill Cemetery and others that may be a good location where the folks who are tending to the monument can still go and do that.
Sure.
But it's not in the middle of our downtown business district.
Sure. You know, I've talked to people, and they said, well, you know, what's next? They're going to take down Gettysburg and places like that. No, we're not going to do foolish things and stuff like that. I think the cemetery is a great place to memorialize, you know, people that have lost their lives in wars and whatever the case may be. But I'm like you. You know, a lot of people don't want to do that. They think, what are we going to do with George Floyd? I said, well, you know, everybody has their moment in time, and, you know, think about it, you know. But, you know, it gets kind of crazy. You know, I see both sides, but the thing I see is all my friends, the black ones, all my friends, the white ones, I think we all get disillusioned sometime on what the bigger picture is. And, you know, how can we build in our community right now? How can we have a solution, talk about it, what's the best way? It takes all of us. And that's what encourages me, that everybody I've talked to on both sides, you know, let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm. That is encouraging. You know, my home, I'm the only white person that lives in my house. My husband's African American, and my children are multiracial.
Right.
And my son, my oldest son, Adrian, he's always been a mess. He has a unique perspective on everything.
Adrian.
And he said he didn't even understand the concept of race when he was a kid.
Right.
He just thought people came in different colors.
Right.
He didn't really know why.
Right.
I was lighter than his dad. But he was just like, oh, okay, people come in different colors. He didn't understand that there was even a such thing as race, which is, I mean, I thought, wow, that's really awesome the way that we've done things in our house. And just not discuss it. He just never thought about it.
Right.
But just love everybody.
Yeah.
That's
hard for some people to do. I was talking earlier, just in my family, my mom, she was a Christian lady and brought me up in church, and so we never had any issues with that kind of thing. But from her side of the family, they were very racial, I remember, an instance, going to the place I used to work at, Western Steer in Rock Hill, and Mom's sister came to visit, and she was very vocal about saying, I'm not sitting in here with a bunch of niggers. And, that was kind of, it threw me a curve, because, I never did understand that kind of thought. And she laughed about it. And that bothered me. And I see people I sit with here sometimes, and I tell them these kind of things, and maybe it doesn't mean much to them because they don't think about it. But it does mean something, the way you treat people and the way you talk to people. And that's all people. And if you've got some kind of issue in your heart about somebody because of the color of their skin or those kind of things, you're way off base in my heart. But that's still a hard subject to talk about, because people are passionate about those things, what's right and what's wrong.
Mm-hmm. And people are born the way they're born. It's not as if folks are going out to make a decision to be one way or another. It's not something that you can change. It is what it is, and there's no reason for. And I can say this, coming from a family who had racist folks in it as well, there's just no reason for it.
Right. Yeah. We went to a reunion, and my family and the first black baby was brought to the reunion, and it was like everybody about fell over in their seats, and it was wonderful to me. But I've been raised like that. Black people have been very influential in my life, if you want to put a color on it. My teachers in elementary school at Richmond Drive, Mr. Smith and Miss Thompson, Fannie Moore, who helped raise me, my mom when she was working a textile mill, feed me and stuff like that. I mean, it was the guy that led me to the Lord was a black man, and they've been the most influential people in my life, and I think to the world in that regard, as far as air conditioning, inventions, things like that. But people don't want to talk about those kind of things. They feel like, well, they're talking about it too much, or But I can understand people having their time, because as a white person, hell, we have control of the narrative, so to speak. But don't give me hell about it either, because my demographic, hell, I'm just like you. I'm in this thing. We're right here together. We're working class and trying to work together to help each other and build on all the bad things that have happened to all of us in the past. That's what I see, and that's the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that folks, could come together in the community with, pure hearts and just love for one another, and some practical wisdom about how we need to structure our community for folks to be successful in business.
Right.
To me, people need to be able to make a living in the community. People need to be able to come here, start a small business, work at something that's already here, without worrying about whether or not people will stop in this community, because the beginning and the end of I-40 on each end of the county are those huge Confederate flags.
Right.
And I just think that it's a deterrent to businesses coming to this area, and it's hurting our economy. Just from a practical standpoint.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, it sucks. I hate them. They're an anti-American flag because the Confederacy was an anti-American thing.
Right.
But but aside from that, just looking at it from some practical wisdom standpoint, it's just bad for business.
Right. Yeah, the former highway patrolman, I talked with yesterday, he said if he was from Raleigh, if he was coming from Raleigh and he come down the interstate, and this is a black gentleman, he's second in North Carolina, if he was coming to this area, he would not stop just because something's going on there. I can't put my hand on it, but something's going on.
Right.
And it's a real symbol coming into the county. Now, we've had some great successes with the math and science coming here and all those kind of things. But celebrating something that's, like you said, for me, it's all business, because it goes back to when I started business up here back in the 90s with the lumber up in Glen Alpine. And I ran into the same thing here. I'm trying to promote American business and all my customers, and from every demographic, every background, Muslim, black, that we got all that here. And that's what America is, the melting pot. That's what we want it to be. We say that, but how do we implement it? Well, we work with people that are trying to build business and stuff like that. We can't be putting up stuff that's, saying, well, there's a way to work around that and work with people, I believe, to come to a solution where we can really make this the place it should be without those bad kind of things happening.
Yeah, without having to worry about whether or not people are going to stop at my small business in Morganton because of the Confederate flags on the interstate.
Right.
You want people to come into the community.
Right.
And those people are going to be from all cultures.
Yeah, all cultures.
You don't want to have huge symbols that say, hey, this culture is not welcome here.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing. I think that's what everybody's really interested in that I've talked to on both sides is, let's keep the temperature cool, if I can speak correctly. And keep everything on even keel and talk about it and work through it and see each other and celebrate each other. We're here to celebrate each other. We're here to build business and to build each other up and build our families and our kids. And we've got good things going on here. And, and it's going to be like this all over the world. But we're talking about here and the good things we can build on right here in Morganton.
I can tell you from my husband's perspective, so we'll be, somewhere traveling to somewhere, maybe driving to the beach or driving to the mountains or whatever, and we go through a place and we're hungry, but we're like, I don't know, with my husband being black, if he's going to be welcome in that area. Because, and what we look for are things like, are there Confederate flags flying everywhere? Do people have Confederate flag tags
bumper
on the
stickers.
front of their, and bumper stickers and things? What kind of community is it before we'll even make a decision to stop?
Right.
We're not going to stop and spend our money, and go into a restaurant or a place where he's not going to be welcome, or people are going to stare at us because we're an interracial couple.
Right.
So those kinds of things are definitely a topic that folks think about whenever they're driving through somewhere.
Yeah, I know, white people, we don't think about it too much. I always think about it myself because I feel for my brothers and sisters, but, a friend of mine, son, is 12 years old, and he's a black child, and, kids, why don't we have any statues of Hitler? Why do we have statues of Confederate soldiers and stuff like that? And, here's a kid talking about, subjects, that's still going on, when it's really about, it should be business. It should be business and promoting the wholesomeness for our community, and this is something we can move past and build better from.
Yeah, we can. I think that our community has it. I think we have it in us to come together and make a decision about what to do.
Yeah.
Whether I think that folks are really crying out for the county commissioners to kind of lead that charge.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right fit or not.
Right.
It may be. It could be that perhaps the mayor, or perhaps another government official, or maybe somebody completely different.
Yeah, I think just getting the right people talking about it, you can talk about it all you want, but I think we have to have something moving forward. I know that I think things are moving forward. It seems like it's slow rolling a lot of different things. I know that I think the county owns and the city leases out, and according to law, from what I understand. I could be wrong. And we want people to interact with us on all this kind of stuff. This is conversation that we want to help each other with, and hear each other's story, and sit down and talk, and tell us your view. And sometimes it's knowing the facts. I'm uneducated a lot of different things till I start sitting down and finding out people's backstory and find out what's really going on, how they really feel. And that's what I've done. I've gone around town, and because I love this town. I love the people in this town, and everybody, our law enforcement, everything. Man, it's wonderful, and want to see it come up even more. Like remodeling your house. We remodeling the city. And it's got good things going on, good vibe, and we want everybody to feel that vibe. But at the same time, I'm real passionate about trying to bring this to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that Confederates monument is a stumbling block to being able to make it to that next level.
Right.
Just because so many, it's like a dark cloud.
Right.
To so many people.
Sure.
Whether or not folks are passionate about it, whether or not they want it there, they don't want it there. If it's a black cloud to so many folks, if it's a problem, if it makes people feel marginalized or hated or reduced in any way, then it's not a good thing.
Right.
And we remember the Civil War. It was atrocious. A lot of people died unnecessarily. And America won in the end. So, here we are, Americans and citizens of Burke County.
Right.
And, we're just trying to live and make a living, and we want everybody to feel comfortable in our community.
Right. That's a good way to end on right there. I think that's an American. And that's been my thing, through all the things that we see in history, we're still improving. Mm-hmm. We've got some issues, we got some growing to do, we got some things we do have to talk about, but we can negotiate through that because, so many people have shed blood, so many people have hurt, so many atrocities, so many pains, so many, just things we don't even look at, and we can be above that and show a beautiful picture of our society by being Americans, by celebrating every American, everybody's background, everybody's backstory, everybody united together. I believe that. I've believed that since I was in elementary school, and all these things from all those teachings and the black teachers in my life and friends and all those different things has brought us to, like you said, to a point we can be Americans, and let's build on that.
Mm-hmm. And America is built from folks who came here from other places.
Right.
We had Italian immigrants, German immigrants, we have Celtic immigrants. That's where my family came from. It's just so everybody that's here is here from somewhere else. Right. Almost, except for our indigenous populations.
Right.
And I think that we need to recognize that, and because of that, I think that that's even more reason to love each other and
Sure.
support each other and make sure that everyone's comfortable here in Burke County.
Right. I think a good way to do that, Arwen, is redefining ourselves. I've seen you redefine yourself. I've redefined myself. You go in seasons and cycles. Things that you thought were important, decades ago don't mean anything now. Life and your family and each other and community and that fabric is what means things, and helping one another and building on that. And so, that's what helps me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that redefinition is definitely something that I've been, doing for the past year or two. Last March of 2022, I went into surgery and had a life-changing experience. I was 350 pounds, and I was miserable. And because of that, I had gastric bypass surgery, and I've lost 140 pounds.
Amazing.
Yeah, which is, I'm like a whole different person.
You are.
And, I could never really do that before. The foods available here in America, they just kind of pack it on. You don't even realize what's
Sure.
going on. And I couldn't take care of Arwen. I had self-esteem issues because of my size and my weight. But when I had my daughter, that was kind of life-changing. I had a little girl later in life,
Yeah.
and I couldn't maybe take care of Arwen, but I could take care of Briella's mom.
There you go.
To make sure that I was around.
Sure.
It's something that I would do. I would choose it every time. The only thing I regret about it is that I didn't do it earlier.
Right.
It would have been great to do it 15 years before I did, but that redefinition has been something that I've been undertaking, and I think it's possible for our community to redefine itself as well.
Exactly. That's a great point, Arwen, and you look amazing, and it's encouraging to me, to so many people. So many people need that hope of, hey, man, I can redefine myself. There's a gentleman, old James Murphy. He's a good friend on Facebook, and man, he struggles with everything in life, like all of us, and his weight and things like that, and getting back and getting in shape. And he encourages me because no matter what, he's doing something. If he's just sitting on the couch with the peddler, for 2 minutes, he's doing something. He's being active. He's redefining himself. And so that encourages me, because I always feel like I'm crawling out of the grave every morning, and rising again. And by mid-morning, some coffee and some tea and all those kind of things, I'm feeling alive again. But Arwen, you look great, and I think it's a great match for our community too, because I think our community's redefining ourselves, or just adapting and changing to being changed from glory to glory, the way I see it. And you're amazing what you've done, and how things have turned around in your life, and your persona, and your look, and your body, and all those things. It's exciting.
It's a lot more healthy now, and I think that just making really good choices about the things we put in our bodies, not eating a bunch of crap all the time and things like that. And it's parallels, with the community.
Right.
Just being selective about what we allow in our community, and how we represent ourselves and things like that. And I think that our community can be healthy and strong.
Exactly. Be the best version of ourselves. I know we all want that. And it takes a little encouragement and a little hope, and a little nudging along, and we can do that. Man, this is such a great subject, dear to all of our hearts, and I'm excited. We're going to be talking a lot of different subjects, controversial, and we want to hear your opinions and solutions, and keep everything on an even keel. Arwen, what's your feel on how people can talk about this, and how we can move forward, some of the solutions in that regard?
Well, we can certainly start, comment on the video. We're going to post it on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook and Instagram as well. Those are good platforms for discussion. Making sure to attend those city council meetings and those county commissioners meetings, and make sure to let our elected officials know how you feel about things going on in our community. Be it the Confederate monument, the Confederate flags at each end of the county, or anything else.
Sure.
It's important that folks show up and let our elected officials know the temperature of the community and how the community feels about things that are going on. Get active in your community.
Hey, thanks once again, and we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast.